Alright, well, remember how I said 5 minutes? It's a little of the mark when you unwittingly end up finding out that some bizarre reason, it would appear that the floor, the tiling right outside your bathroom, apparently ended up being waxed or polished, or something had happened to it that makes it extremely slippery, so that when you try to step off of it, you just fall over entirely. And you just kinda have to take a minute to yourself if that happens, but anyway. I hope the music has been enjoyable at least. This is this track which I have gone on record in the past saying that it probably is unironically my favorite track from Bayonetta, and I would probably stick to that now. I don't think there is anything else, and yes, I am fully aware of what I am saying when I say this. I don't think there is anything else from the soundtrack that I would say has that same kind of quality that would make me say, I probably like this the best. And on that note, maybe I'll just do that for, I kind of figured I could, try to do another symbolic carry-on of the old, what should I call it, of actually trying to catch up on stuff that I have left unfinished by switching to another game that fits that same category for like an hour or so, which may include something like Yakuza 0 or something, but I figured that at least for Yakuza 0, the best way to go about it would just be to let's actually, do it properly, do that on full streams. So maybe what I can do instead is play some music game or what have you. Let's go through some of these tracks. Some of the tracks that I have become somewhat fond of through some process or another of being exposed to them. I do have a number of games that I definitely could use for that purpose. I don't know what the fuck I just did. Trying to click on stuff here in the pages. First, maybe enable me to oh goodness. Figure out what I want to do next. I don't know. This tag. Looking at the directory to try to figure out what to do. I think I know what I can do. I guess I'll just do it. I'll switch over to something that we haven't done in a while, seeing that Twitch will allow me to do that. And apparently it will. What do you know? Alright, so it's time for me to go ahead and switch up the tabs at least. But hey, remember Melody's Escape? Turns out they came out with a sequel to that, sort of, but I think much with the original, I think the original did end up just kind of staying in the stasis of early access for a while, and I do believe this next one is probably destined for that same kind of thing. It's sort of in continuous development right now. I don't believe it is out of early access as we speak, but nope. But it certainly is workable. Oh. And apparently it's even updated itself with some achievements that I don't have yet, even though I did get around to having all the achievements that were available for this when it first released, at least. So I will go ahead and pop that open right now, and we'll get to hear some more of these neato tracks. There's the ones that I've been showing off so far. Let me go ahead and, I guess, go to the sea next. If you're gonna be playing this one, which is technically, you know... This thing does display in 16:9. Sure hope that little tumble that I took doesn't end up resulting in too much soreness, though. When I move from today to tomorrow, I don't know how the fuck I'm gonna brace that and not sound awkward. I don't think I can, but anyway, yeah. Let's go ahead and try to figure out how I can get this on here. Probably just by doing this. That ought to work, I would say. Let's see if that actually does, and it does, so you know, alright. Let's take a look at the cosmetics page. I don't think it really matters, but... There's melody, there's prototype melody, there's yoga melody, so just like all different outfits. I guess we'll go with the default one there. The hairstyle can be one of any different things. Long melody, which it's not really that different. There's a braid, there's two braids, there's a ponytail, which it does do a similar length to the regular one, which is kind of impressive. I guess we'll go with long as well. You can have tiny horns or cat ears, which don't really seem all that different from each other on the headphones, but I don't think we will. Melody colors or inverted colors, I guess we've been sticking with inverted colors. God, I have no idea what any more of these could be. I guess it's for the skin and not for, well, the hair. I'm pretty sure it's supposed to be determined, the color of the hair, by the whatchamacallit, the notes, for lack of a better term. The stuff that you interact with in the game. I guess we'll stick with what we had going in here, which was inverted. Environment ocean, as opposed to what? It's only ocean right now. Fall color scheme. This stuff is, yeah, apparently still... Can we not go back with this? I guess not. Gotta try to go back with escape. There we go. That's probably all we need to fuck with right now as far as settings, so we'll go with intense, as you might imagine. Let me see... Well, let's go to my big music folder, which is somewhere in here. Where's the thing? Shouldn't it be up here? Yeah, it is. This is the big folder where I have shitloads of video game OSTs, which is the main thing that I would use on here. It's still one of my favorites, why not? If we can get down here and do the thing. Not sure how well a lot of these would lend themselves to, you know, rhythm stuff, if I'm being perfectly honest with you, but make sure that I've actually got the controller also set up and working correctly, because I don't really have any assurance of that right now, but maybe now I will. Yeah, okay, looks like we're good. So let's do like what's easily my favorite track of all the tracks that I've heard from probably anything in 2022. Quite an impressive composition, quite an impactful composition, I would dare say. Even if I'm not too sure exactly how this is going to translate to stuff. If I can remember what each of these symbols even means. It's always kind of quiet, but it sounds like something that's a consequence of the... Yeah, no, the music volume needs to be a little bit louder. Let's turn it up to, I don't know, 85. Let's see. Zoom. Let's see how it sounds now. Yeah, that's better. And let's enjoy the dulcet tones of Asakura in Tenchu 1, which is ironically one of the greatest video game soundtracks, I believe, ever. I believe that the record thingy, when I was selecting this track, did show that I did manage to do like a perfect on it before, but should that be surprising? Well, it's showing early and late, but at least it's still accepting them. Oh boy. Do I get to like catch any of the slow notes? No, I guess not. It's a bit of a fake out there. Don't really go too far right now because I feel like, even though I'm trying to be like, yeah, I'm totally gonna keep trying to say stuff during this, it's actually a wee bit difficult to do that without losing your concentration. And then it just rain dropped there, so I couldn't really do much about that. What a shame. Just kind of threw me off completely. And also, you know, the rhythm in this little guitar strummy part is a bit more freestyle. A bit more loose. So if anything, I would say it's understandable. And there we go. Also an achievement that are the ones I got at it after the beginning, which I noted when I was looking at this on the little Steam loader thing. I just called like oops or something, or so close or some crap like that, and it's one of those that's like hidden, so it doesn't tell you outright what the requirement is to unlock it, but I imagine it's something like get every note right except for one, which shouldn't be too difficult to do. I'm pretty sure that's sort of an uncommon occurrence when I play games like this at all. But, well, what else shall I regale myself with? Could do any one of these, could do something from a game I've technically streamed at some point in the past. Why is the... okay, I was gonna say. Why is the music player that I have all these songs organized in not letting me scroll through? It's because it's doing dumb shit, but I've dismissed it already. Let's do something from one of these. Let me see. Let's do something from Trauma Team. It's got both of the discs on the same folder. That's convenient, I guess. Oh god. Oh shit. Which of these would be good for this, I wonder. Remind me what this one sounds like. Hopefully clicking on it will do that. It will. What about this one? Maybe. What about Cold Sister? This one's not too long, but I do like this one a lot. You know, the good Atlus series, the good series that Meguro has some connection to soundtrack-wise, even though he doesn't really do much on this series outside of like the first game, and that's it. Apparently we've really picked up the pace with this one. And as much as that whole thing could be like a vehicle for me to go on a rant about how I didn't care too much for Persona 3 Onward, even though I did play, well, that game, that was pretty much it. Persona 3 Portable. And yeah, it sure was a game. And yet I end up being way more captivated by this series instead. As far as series from this publisher developer with this style. But instead I will merely say those words in particular and leave it at that, I guess. I'm probably gonna focus on not getting distracted from the consistent high pace of this particular track and this particular difficulty in this interpreter, which I am doing by continuing to speak and trying to come up with things to say, but oh well. As long as I'm doing that, I will simply reiterate Trauma Center is a great series. People should check it out. I streamed them a long time ago, but it was like a bit of a real yellow thing. Setup that I had at that point. Could do it more easily now, but I don't know. Perhaps at some point before my untimely death it will come up again. I'll be like, yeah, sure. I'm down for this. All day, every day. Early, and yet we did get the full animation on that move. Now there ought to be some kind of way that I can figure out which of these, like, what I can do to frickin', you know, get that bizarre, you didn't quite manage to do it exactly right achievement. It shall come up. Speaking of soundtracks that people sleep on a lot if they are ignorant, Sims, let's see if I can find something from that. There's like some really good ones. One expansion in particular that for some reason people don't seem to be aware that it's an expansion with a really good soundtrack, which is Unleashed. And apparently I haven't done any of these, sounds weird. Well, let's go for this one. It might be a little bit weird, but you can hear the, just from that little sample, the kind of a vibe it goes for, and it does it quite well. Guess I'll see if I can actually concentrate on this one a little more instead of trying to just blab the whole time. Shit. Can get mixed up even if I'm not actively sabotaging myself by trying to multitask. That do be how it is. But I mean, this, the way that this composition relates to rhythm is kind of inherently tricky, I would say. And then they do stuff like that, just... So what, we're using a different octave now. Okay, fake respite there. Just for 1 second. Oh man. Very nice book, and the throwback to that little tiny scale. Oh hey, I got the oof thing from that one somehow. Oh, I think it was literally just getting 1 miss in the entire track, even though I thought that I technically missed multiple, multiple things in during that track, because I the way I did that miss cost me to it wasn't one of the directional ones, not one of the face button ones. So it technically cost me to miss multiple cues, but that still just counts as 1 miss. Go figure. Oh well. Mystery solved. Anyway, but yeah. More cool music. What else can I come up with for this purpose to fill next? Last little leg of the stream, just like another 18 minutes or so before it hits midnight for me, and then be calling it. But first, I could try to return to a classic. A perennial favorite of the stream. And try to figure out if there's something nice that I can pick from. Curse of Darkness, maybe. Castlevania Curse of Darkness. Perennial favorite being Castlevania as a whole, of course, but this soundtrack in particular, where is it? Do I have it as just Curse of Darkness? I get a feeling, yeah, that this is one of those that I would have added when I was first building this folder, and it was not something that I necessarily would have expected to hold fucking hundreds of subfolders, but oh well. I've done more of the Aqueduct, which is one of the most pleasant surprises in this soundtrack, as you can tell, but I could do like one of my favorite songs ever. I don't know. What if we do something a little bit different? Cordoba Town is quite good as well. I could do that one. I could do Helio Mouse, which is also very good. Pretty much everything from here is very good. That's not really a distinction, but it is a distinction from everything that isn't this, but not so much internally. Guess we'll do Cordoba Town. Why not? This one is how long? 422, why not? And I do feel like the... Oh boy, it's got some very red sections there, apparently. The visual of this particular game, just walking through at a brisk pace, does fit the kind of visual that you get when you actually play Curse of Darkness and you go through that part of the game where this place. It's a very kind of tightened up action area. I really do need to do another playthrough of that game. For practical purposes as well as just enjoyment. So I need to gather up all the context notes for where each of the tracks in the soundtrack plays in that game. Wouldn't accept anything less. If you start to pay attention in this game, though, I guess I can do this kind of completely unrelated to anything I've been talking about before. But if you do pay attention, you will notice that occasionally they do like patterns, like, you know, pretty much every set of notes for the past minute or so, I think, or at least 30 seconds. And then there's a break like that. It's been like three face button notes, and then a directional note, and then they switch it up. It's now only 2, and then it's 3 again. Now let's go back to being 3. But then they switch it up, now it's only 2 and a directional one, and then they do those ones where you have to hold it. Gotta keep an eye out for that if you actually want to get like the perfect scores on the intense stuff, and then... Ooh, you fly. Got a bit of a frame drop there, though. That was very unfortunate. Oh man, I don't think I've seen like the whole notes on like this intensity level before though. It's probably like fresh for me unless maybe they even straight up added it in the you know, whatever update this is. But I probably haven't actually done properly. I guess yellow is the one where she runs the fastest, and after that it's like this magenta one where she flies. You gotta step it up a notch after all. Pretty sure she did something similar kind of progression in the first Melody's Escape, but... Oops. Gotta step it up to match this new visual style, I guess. Funnily enough, I think that the original Melody's Escape, you know, where it's just like a really horizontal side view kind of style, does remind me a bit, conceptually at least, of the game on the PS1 that's in the chase, and that thus can come up in chase wheel, or just the wheel, I guess, if you're not familiar with the chase, but the wheel stuff that I do, called Biv Ribbon. That, funnily enough, also allows you to plug in your own music into it. You like come up with it in CD format. Even if it's all fakey virtual emulated, you can still do that if you can figure out how. And I did, so whenever that does come up, that will definitely be a factor. But for now, you don't have to jump through those kinds of hoops when you get a, you know, newer game like this where you can just do that, and that's the premise. We're gonna catch stuff in this last stretch. Here we are. That's cool. And we miss enough stuff to not be able to complete the last heart. That's something that, yeah. Pretty sure it is possible to complete all 5 hearts, even if you don't get every single note, if you do like well enough, but not that time. So what else shall we do? Could do something perhaps somewhat connected to something that we played on stream, but that would require me to know off the top what the fuck I'm talking about. Hold on. Can look at this real quick. This magical page that I've got here. And I can probably come up with something that I can plug in to this that would be related to something I put in the past. I think I know what I can do, actually. There's, unironically, the music off Rule of Rose, which I do have somewhere in here. There we go. What did Love Suicide, just the main theme of the game, but we can do another one, like, I don't know, fighting is like 2 minutes. Or the fear stuff. There's some stuff from this that I favored. Piano 2 shows up before 1. Go figure. Yeah, let's do Backbiting. I always did like this one just because of how unique it was in many aspects of the composition. Even if it is kind of mellow for this. Can step it up a little bit more for whatever one we do next, but I do feel like doing this one now. I mean, I say mellow even though you can see that the input actually looks like not quite so mellow. There we go. This is actually a bit more chill than what we were just doing there. big inputs on the ground. I'm pretty curious as to how they make this sound in particular. The one that sounds like high-pitched scraping almost, but it doesn't sound like actual scraping to that degree. Like, I've also got on the record saying that there are certain sounds in like real instrument recordings that will set me off, and one of them is like the sound of fingers scraping against the guitar string. Like in Chrono Cross, you hear that sometimes, and I don't like that. I will say straight up. But I'm not quite sure what the sound that you hear in this track is in actuality. What its nature is, but... Well, let's see. I got time for like one or two more, I would reckon. Let me figure out. I can pick something perhaps a little more, bit of a difference in rhythm for this next one, perhaps, possibly. How about... How about something from Mummy Demastered, which I probably have in here somewhere. That's a game that I played on here. That's a good game, and it's got a pretty interesting soundtrack as well. Let's see. These are mostly kind of technically... Some parts of them could be described as mellow, let's see, but there's a few definitely go a bit beyond that, like, I don't know, this one... This one's not that long either. Being regaled with what I'm pretty sure is like the end game kind of escape. You might remember that game. Like, in vivid enough detail to tell you for certain that that's what happens at the end, but it does seem quite fitting. I do remember the final boss though. I would say it does seem a little suspicious that, you know how I was talking about patterns earlier, the same pattern has been repeating for a little too long now. I don't know if that's just like makes sense because of how the song itself is structured, but it just makes me feel like any minute now it's gonna break and try to throw me off. Oh, we got all the hearts, so maybe I'm talking out of my ass. Well, that's kind of a break in the pattern, not really, but... We're gonna have to catch anything, are we? But one thing. Well, apparently that turned out to be the first actual perfect that I've gotten at this so far. Just as part of this little demo thing. Alright, let's see. I wanted to go ahead and end it off with something that we've definitely done on the stream, both in co-op and solo capacities in the past. Something from this. I could do something from Iceborne, and I probably do want something from Iceborne. Let's see. Which of these would I pick that would fit quite well? There's one that definitely springs to mind as one of the best candidates, but I might as well check it out. Gonna make sure which of these is the one that it's actually in. Okay, I guess it's not the extra one, it's the regular one. So much fucking music in Iceborne that actually got added in. Oh, it's what they've already done, but what do you know? It's worth doing again, probably. So much music in Iceborne that got added in after the official soundtrack for Iceborne was released, even though fucking official soundtrack for Iceborne already had a bunch of stuff that debuted in base Monster Hunter World after that, and its official soundtrack released. And yeah, I don't think they did any additional releases that covered like all the like final state of the game tracks, so to speak. That's all like game rip efforts as far as I'm aware. And yet there's so much there, as I did imply. Oh, Jesus Christ, okay. Should have expected that. If an odd place for this, but... And then it just goes mellow again. Goes back to green. I was wondering for a moment if going back to green is like a fake gesture kind of transition, because immediately saw that ramp and was like, no, it's gonna go right back to higher intensity in like not even 3 seconds, isn't it? But no, like it's not that particular time anyway. It jumps between green and like magenta or whatever. And this is quite something. I feel like it didn't do that. I feel like the flying thing might even be like something that they added in an update that wasn't in the initial state of this, or whatever state it was in when I last played it. But like these high intensity songs on the high difficulty. I'm pretty sure I would remember the flying. And all those animations were like the directional hold ones. I'm just doing the, Battletoads Turbo Tunnel thing for these ones where you just tap it. And there's so many like this. I guess that's what the like little white bars on the intensity bar preview thing represent, because I was wondering what those were about. Don't know if I would have expected this track in particular to have so many of those though. Yeah, I thought this might be the last one that I do, and it has hit midnight as of right now pretty much, but I might want to check out, in light of all this, one more track after this. Which would be a track with sections that I would chalk up to having, these little sections where it slows down for the jump. first one that always comes to mind when I think of oops. Think of songs that might do that if you plug them into this. And it'll be a nice, like, callback to something that we did already pretty much. But that is always worth going back to. But first, let's see how I did. Well, we managed to get the... We had only 6 misses out of that, though. But, okay, let's put about it by heading back down to the good Atlus series. I'm going to... this one, which, yeah, I guess I haven't played it in this version of the game yet. The final boss theme from that game. Very anime, very intense. And wouldn't you know it, it does have those. I wonder if they're at the part that I'm thinking of. They better be. It would be very unfitting if they were like at any other part and not that one. So let me just have a quick look at this. Okay, and let's do it. Oh boy. I think that's a loop point because you can, after hearing that, you can probably kind of imagine why. Or guess why I had this in my mind when I was thinking about what can I possibly expect to trigger that algorithm that generates those slowdown moments, time warp moments. That's not where I was expecting it, but let's see. There we go. The one up ahead. Which I remembered existed was the one that fulfilled my expectations. I don't remember if I've screwed up already, but I haven't. Shame that they don't have it a second time. Just waiting to see how the thing is gonna look when I finish this up. At the end? No, not quite. Nope. Well, counted as early, but it still counted, so... Funnily enough, that turned out to be the second perfect that I did on here. On this session. There we go. And how fitting as well. I did go back to the title screen. I don't know if it's like freezing up because yeah, it's trying to load its own proprietary track that it loads up whenever you're in the titles menu. But I guess that's gonna be the thing that pretty much just plays us out for now. So I believe I am done for the time being. We managed to finish Miserables. What's the prime time, I would say, for retaking control of what's playing, which at this time is gonna be some puzzle agent again. Oh, if I can get it to click once and not multiple times in like 1 microsecond with a single click that I try to do physically anyway. As we play this out, but yeah. I think that is where we will be leaving things off. For the time being, we did finish Miserna Falls. We did finish Miserna Falls. We didn't finish anything else. I don't know why I said that twice. Ended up doing a nice wrap up on that, and finally I have it on the books. And as a thing that I can refer back to if I desire, which may or may not have been one of the main motivations for me streaming it in the first place, because I feel like that's something that probably will turn out to be somewhat handy in the future, possibly. I've seen like very many long plays. There probably are long plays of it there, but you know, just kind of having your own with the things that you personally veto and reference and consult and do in your own way is can be a useful thing, desirable thing, especially if you're like into the game, as I ended up being. I want to refer back to that, but then I went off on break and ended up falling and smashing myself a little bit, but I didn't die, and I came back and we did some Alice Escape 2. And what will we do in the future? That is a good question. I guess I don't know if I'm going to be able to stream anymore this week, but I will definitely try to do something next week, that's for sure. Continue on. See if I can keep up this rhythm without screwing it up, as I always manage to. I think I have more reasons to not do that at this point anyway, but I guess, yeah, the main thing that I would be going back to at this point is Yakuza 0, probably, more than anything. One of the other things that I pretty much started, like, around the same time that I did Miserna Falls, actually, if not a little bit earlier. And I just kept allowing to get left by the wayside. I think it's finally time I tried to do good on that as well. I'll probably try to focus on that next, not forgetting a couple of other things. Probably I say a couple of other things, but only one other one really springs to mind when I bring that up. And then another one does, so never mind. But only one of those, no, never mind. Other than Yakuza 0, I think that's like the last thing that's pending that is technically relating to something that I started, not entirely of my own behest, but at somebody else's. So I was thinking also of Chrono Cross and the Monkey Island stuff that also came to mind, but those are technically things that I decided on myself, so... But then I will also go back to, you know. But that will be at some unspecified point in the future. Let me just go ahead and by unspecified point I mean sometime next week at the latest. And will at least be initiated. That's how unspecified that is. Let me just have a quick look at this. Okay. But what I'm gonna be doing right now to send us off is going to do another quick raid as I did probably the last time I did this, if I recall correctly, to LP Solid Gamer, a good friend of the stream, and as I may have mentioned before, probably just a couple days ago as a matter of fact. She do be doing some Fire Emblem stuff again. She's been up to that like all week, I think. Ooh. Apparently her stream might have just died and come back to life, so you know, relatable. But yeah, doing that game with the toothpaste hair, which I do find a little intriguing for the reasons you might expect. For fighting a game intriguing, but just like the commentary she has to offer and like the bizarre ways in which they've constructed it. You know, it's just a fun time to hang out with, so hopefully you can join me at least for a bit. But beyond that, I will once again, I think I just mentioned that when I come back, which shouldn't take too long, I guess I'll try to actually focus on Yakuza 0 properly, what's left of that, which is probably most of it, hugely most of it, but yeah, that's what's on the docket right now, so keep an eye out for that, and you'll take it easy. I thank everybody for coming, like always. Thanks for chatting, always great whenever people chat. This was my day to stop by for a moment, and I will be seeing you later.